All right, welcome to For Action Takers Only, the podcast. I'd like to ask if you like what you're seeing, please like and subscribe wherever the buttons may be. We could use the support. Today I got Michael Hayes. Michael Hayes is an old friend. I've known Michael Hayes, I say, over 40 years. He was the first guy I met when I moved to Houston, Texas, back in the early 80s. When I found out he was SubTo, I was, he's kind of the reason I joined SubTo, why I got involved. So had to get him on the podcast. I'm gonna bring him on in.
All right. Hey Todd, how you doing?
How's it going, Michael?
Good, good.
Yeah, what you been up to?
Oh man, nothing fun today. Actually trying to get some deals closed, get some deals under contract. That is the fun part. The unfun part is trying to get my books all straightened, for the end of the year. So
Oh, you don't like doing books?
I hate doing books. I mean, I have a bookkeeping company that takes care of all that stuff for me, but they still need my help and input and things. So
Oh, okay, so it's still a pain in the butt. You don't get away from it, huh?
okay, but yeah, I don't like looking at spreadsheets and numbers and trying to that's just not my thing.
I get you. So that's what you've been up to today? Books and deals?
Books and deals, yeah. Yep.
All right. Cool deal. All right. Well, I'm gonna get started, man. We've known each other quite a while, right? How did you come across SubTo?
Yeah, like you said, over 40 years, man. That makes me feel old when you say that.
No shit. But we're not gonna talk about that anymore. That's enough.
So
Yeah.
you asked how I got started in SubTo?
How did you come across it? When did you get started? Were you doing any other kind of programs first, or did you just come across SubTo and start that way?
No, I mean, I had been to, like a couple of seminars, like the little, weekend thing where they try and talk you into, signing up for the big $20,000 mentorship, right? So I'd done those. I had been in real estate for about a year, just trying to do wholesale. I'd done some smaller deals, um, and that's when I kind of came across Pace. I was following Pace on YouTube, along with a lot of other people, trying to check out a program that I thought was actually going to deliver the value and come through with the promises that they make, right? Because there's a lot of mentorships out there that promise a lot and they don't deliver. They just take your money and really don't provide a whole lot of value. And so I had told myself, after watching Pace, how genuine he is, how down to earth he is, how honest, and you can tell, what kind of integrity he has. That if he ever, opened up a mentorship, that I would definitely want to be a part of that.
Oh, so you found him before he even started his mentorship, before he started the community.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I was following him on YouTube, and I can't remember where all he was, but I was following Pace everywhere he was. I was very interested in creative financing, and obviously Pace was, one of the biggest people out there. Now he is the biggest creative finance person, right? But he and some of the old timers like Ron LeGrand and some other people were pretty well known, as well known as Pace back then.
Okay. So once you found him, so you just Ron LeGrand was one you mentioned. So those are some of the other ones you were watching at the time.
Yeah, and there's some other ones I can't think of off the top of my head, but yeah, there were a handful of people in that creative financing space that I was following.
Okay. So you said you started with wholesaling then before you actually got into SubTo. How many deals were you able to do before you got into SubTo?
That's been so long ago. I don't remember exactly, but I think it was three deals, and then I had just closed my first like fairly good size assignment fee. It was about a $13,000 fee, like right before Pace started the mentorship or announced that it was a thing.
Okay, so you got the money just in time to join, huh?
Yeah. Well, so I got the money and then I got laid off of my job at exactly the same time. So that's right when COVID hit. I got laid off like a lot of other people. I had just gotten that, it was like 12 or $13,000 assignment fee. And I was like, man, do I really want to, with no income coming in, do I want to spend all that money on a mentorship? Right.
Right. So I got to ask, how much was it back then? What did he start it at?
Yeah, that was a little ways back. So exactly remember, but it was right around $10,000. I think like nine or $10,000. But like I think they still do this. You can break it up into payments. So that's
Yeah, yeah, he still works payments, so he's a creative guy, so we're creative with him,
yeah.
right? All right, so once you got in sub 2, and you already had it, how long did it take you to get your first deal under your belt in sub 2?
And it happened pretty quickly. I think one of the first deals that I remember was a SubTo. This lady had already moved out of the house. She was in pre-foreclosure. She'd moved on. She was out of the house. I think she and her son were living in an apartment. So she was gonna let the bank take the house. She was getting tons of phone calls like everybody in pre-foreclosure, like they do.
Mhm,
Somehow I was able to convince her that she should sell the house to me. I'd give her, a couple $1,000s. And so I bought the house up too. I didn't have the money, right, to actually close on the property. So as soon as I got her under contract, I scrambled to try and find an owner finance buyer. Fortunately, I was able to find one in like a matter of like 2 or 3 weeks.
ooh,
So she was behind, I think, like maybe again, like 12 or $13,000. I think they brought like $25,000 down on the house. So I made about, after I paid her the $2,000, you caught up the arrears. I made somewhere around 10 to 12 thousand dollars in addition to the close to $800 a month that I've made on that property. Since then, and I'm still making $800 a month now.
still got the property then?
Well, yeah, well, I mean, technically it's not my property. I have the note. I own the note, but yes, I still have that note paying me
Okay.
$800 a month.
All right, so how many properties you got under your belt? How many doors you own now?
If I include the owner finance notes, it's just under 25.
Just under 25. And what are you doing with these properties? Are they mostly, rentals, Airbnbs? Are you doing fix and flips? Are you doing the whole gamut or what? But what are you doing with the properties you hold?
Yeah, so the properties that I hold, I've got a mixture of rentals, Airbnbs. I've just converted two of my rental properties to Airbnbs because obviously they generate more money.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, so I've got of properties that I'm holding. I've got six. I'd love to add more to that. That's the goal. But I've got six, between rentals and Airbnbs, and then the rest of those are notes on the finance properties.
Okay. So you're doing owner financing yourself.
Yeah.
Okay. So, let me ask you this. Um, are you doing wholesaling too with your team? Are you
Oh
wholesaling?
yeah, yeah. Absolutely. I'm doing all the above. So I'm doing flips. I've got a flip in Abilene right now that I'd love to get sold. Doing flips. I'm keeping properties. I'm selling properties on owner finance, in short-term rentals and long-term rentals. So all the above.
Okay. So do you have a buyer's list? For
Yeah, yeah. I've got a buyer's list and I've got people that help me dispose of these properties as well.
Okay. So if I came at you with some deals, like anything I find, I can say, "Hey, Mike, I need a buyer for this." And
Oh yeah, absolutely, man. Bring it on.
all right, we got to find. That's what I've been struggling. I was like, "Huh, I need to start building a buyer's list if I want to start doing try and do some deals like that or wholesale." I don't know. I still got to figure out. I've been struggling a little bit. I've been trying to figure out where I fit still in this world.
Yeah.
So
Well, I mean, you're doing the thing that a lot of new people do, right?
yeah,
They bounce around a lot trying to figure out what they want to do. And Pace doesn't make it easy, right? He's got 10 new things a month that he wants to introduce to everybody. And so if you've got that shiny object syndrome, Pace can be kind of distracting. There's so many more great things about Pace, but that's one of the things that people like have to resist.
right. So how many times have you met Pace since you've been in?
Oh man. I want to say probably like 4 or 5 times.
Yeah, have you been in to any of his major ticket or major events like Golden Ticket or any of those things?
I went to the Clever Summit.
The
So
Clever
I
Summit?
met him at that, and then the rest have been here in Houston, and then I met him one time in Phoenix too. So I went with myself, Yui Wen, and some other people from SubTo, Faisal, and some other people. We went to Steve Trang's workshop on sales training, and
Hmm.
then of course, Pace found out that we were in town, and invited us out to an event that he was doing.
All right. So are you planning on going to this Squad Up Summit coming up in April, is it? Or is yeah, April.
The jury's still out. I would love to go. The jury's still out on that.
Yeah.
There's that, and I know that he has a golden ticket event coming up here pretty soon too. I'm trying to get into that. So,
Yeah. That would be awesome.
according to Pace, anyone who volunteered at one of the events that we had, how we had volunteers for the uh charity thing for November and December. He said anyone who went to that, I think that they're qualified to go. And I went and volunteered at the Thanksgiving one. So I'm gonna try and squeeze my way
All right. Well, keep us informed.
in.
That'd be great. Yeah, I've been watching about that golden ticket event. That'd be cool. I'd like to do that squad up to. You didn't go to WealthCon, huh?
Mm-mm.
No. How come?
I just had too much going on at the time. I mean,
Yeah.
it's great to get away to these deals, but when you got a lot of deals that you're juggling, sometimes it's not good timing.
Right. Yeah. I know he sure does push it like, hey, you got to get to these things a lot. It's like, how am I supposed to do that when I'm running a business?
Just be like Pace, right? You can work like 14 plus hours a day, and
Well, yeah, when
you
you got 20 people following you around and that's kind of easy to do. All right. So when you first joined, what was the program like? Did they have the Avatar series and all that set up already, or did
and no, they didn't have any of the stuff that we have now. We didn't have the Avatar series. We had some from what I remember, we had some basic training that we wanted everyone to go to. But I mean, you got to keep in mind we were on these Zooms with Pace, and it was like there were like 200 people and stuff too. So I mean,
Mhm.
it was Pace sitting in front of his laptop in his car or at a hotel room. It's a totally different feel than the. It feels like more of a production right now. I know that he brings people up on stage. That makes it a lot more personal, but compared to what it was before, I guess it's a
Right.
lot fancier for sure.
All right. So since they didn't have an avatar, did you ever go through that and figure out your avatar?
I mean, so I did go through it when he came out with the Avatar series, and it
Mhm.
was pretty much what I was doing, right? Direct to seller, visionary, among other things. But that's kind of my background. I've always been in sales. I've always been face to face, on the phone, closing deals. So that I just kind of naturally kind of fit that avatar.
Okay. So when did you start building a team? When did you start building this team for your business?
I want to say that's probably about 2 years ago. So it was after I had my lead VA job on. I was doing things solo for a while. I partnered up with somebody in Sub2. That ended up, not being a good fit. We're still great friends. We still do deals together. But after that partnership ended, I was actually going back to my job. This was, after companies kind of recovered from COVID. So I went back to my job. So between starting, back again at a new job, and dissolving that partnership, it was a while before I kind of got my groove back again in real estate.
Okay, so you ended up falling out for a little bit then.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, yeah, it was more of, just not having the time, between all those things. Because when the partnership dissolved, all the processes that we had in place and the VAs, the lead generation, all that went away. So I had to
Okay.
start all that over again at the same time that I was starting back at a new job. So it took a little bit to get the momentum going.
Took the wind out of you, would you say?
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. It was not fun. It was not a fun place to be in for sure.
Right. And how long ago was that? She said 2022 or
Yeah, I mean, like somewhere between 2 and 3 years ago. More than two, but probably 2.5, three, something like that.
all right. So how long has John been with you as your VA?
John's been with me for about 3 years.
3 years? He's a good guy, yeah.
He's a really good guy, really smart guy. He's as invested in my business as I am. So that's what I love about John. He's always trying to, make the team better, make everything about the business better.
He's really quick at learning those CRMs too, huh?
I mean, John's just a smart dude.
Those techies.
But yeah, he's got a technical background too. I know that he used to do like IT support and things like that. So I mean, he's really good, and I think he seems to be getting really excited about getting his foot back into that technical side of things again.
All right. So what did he first do for you? Was he like a cold caller when you first got him, or?
Yeah, he was just a cold caller. I mean, it's been long enough now, so I can say it. I stole him from Start Virtual.
All right. You stole him.
I stole them, but hey, I paid them for like over a year while John was there, so they definitely made their money off of John. But yeah, I came across John at Start Virtual, and he did a great job. He was just doing cold calling, generating leads. And it just got to a point where John was just, I didn't ask John to leave Start Virtual. I was fine with them managing him. I didn't want that responsibility, but he was not happy at Start Virtual. And he brought it up several times. I'm like, hey, let's just work things out, try to work within Start Virtual. And it just got to a point where he was fed up and he was walking away, right? So I was either going to take him or he was going to go work for somebody else.
So might as well get him. You got a
Yeah,
good one. He is good. He
yeah,
helps me out a lot. He is very, very, very helpful. So I want to give him praise and boost him up, man. He's been very helpful with me. So
1,000%. Yeah,
yeah, I think he's great. So
yeah,
uh you're considered a sub 2 OG here in Houston, right? Kinda.
yeah, yeah. Not kind of, definitely. Yeah.
So you were one of the first ones here in Houston?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what number I was, but I want to say that probably I was one of the first like 300 or 400 people that joined SubTo altogether. I mean, I think so. I remember that they had told us that they were going to cap it to like 20 people in Houston. So major markets had a certain number of people. I think it was about 20. And so when I joined, I was within that 20. But of course they kept on adding more and more people. And we're like, hey, I thought you were going to cap it at 20 people. And, they just kept on growing it bigger and bigger.
All right. So you know Andrew, and how long has Andrew been in? Andrew Oraga?
Um, like maybe a year or two.
Okay. So yeah, I didn't think he was in as long as you. Uh,
Mm-mm. Talking about
so
Andrew Ariaga.
huh?
We're talking about Andrew Ariaga, right?
Yes, yes. So did you get involved with Houston Power Hour when they started that after
No, no. I would love to go visit and just, network with people, but I never really got involved in Colorado.
all right, so what were you doing with Sub 2 in Houston with the Sub 2 group? Did y'all have meetups back then? Did y'all meet other people who were some of the other players back then?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I went to as many of the meetups as I could. And I went on a pretty regular basis. I didn't do the Zooms as much. I'd do those when I could, but whenever they had in-person meetups, I probably went to about 75% of those. Yeah.
Okay. So what's your trade before Sub 2? What did you do before real estate investing?
So it was all sales. So I started off, one of my first jobs out of school was working as a headhunter for a big multi-billion dollar executive search firm called Management Recruiters International. So that's kind of where I got my first professional sales experience, professional sales trainings, all the spin selling stuff that you hear about, Jeff Smith teaching other people and stuff like that. I learned all that stuff at Management Recruiters International. And I mean, not super boiler room, but it was somewhat of a boiler room atmosphere, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they definitely train you to be on the phone closing deals, and really just focused and spending a lot of time and not getting distracted. And I would have probably about 4 hours of what they call connect time every day. So 4 hours being on the phone every day. I think learning that and getting used to that really helped me out in getting into real estate.
That is some major stuff. I got into sales when young, but I got turned off of it real quick because of kind of stuff like that. But I started doing. I was 13. I was doing door to door sales for Houston Chronicle. I don't remember if you ever. Uh, they had a guy in a van come around Nottingham pick up
Oh
kids
yeah.
for newspapers. So.
No, trust me, I had the awful sales jobs too, right? So that
Hmm.
that was fun. That was actually I enjoyed that job. I
Really?
had, it was guys, not the newspaper stuff. I was talking about the management recruiter stuff, but
Oh,
I
okay.
had the jobs like yours where I remember I worked for this company selling door to door meat, right? That was a fun
Oh
job.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, selling Cutco too. A lot of people I know sold the Cutco knives, going knocking door to door, doing demonstrations with the knives and all that kind of stuff. Awful, awful jobs. Yeah.
So, but you got it. You stayed with sales and got into that, and really liked that, huh?
Yeah, yeah. So I did the headhunting thing for I think it was about 8 years. Left to go to another company, started up my own team there. So that was really the first management opportunity that I had. So I had like maybe a team of like 5 to 6 people at another headhunting company, and then left that. Went to go work for a larger staffing company selling healthcare related type stuff. And so I had a multi-state territory that I was going out and calling on hospitals. So doing a lot of traveling. It was about 50% travel.
Okay.
And then I got hired by a consulting company. So same type of field, but they were selling, anywhere from $2 to $20 million projects to these hospitals. Did that for a little while, and then got into the corporate recruiting side of things. So actually working for the company, like a ConocoPhillips, or one of the many oil and gas companies that we have here in Houston, working directly for them, trying to hire their employees.
Okay. So you were a recruiter, a headhunter, huh?
Yeah.
All right. Now, when you sales, what were you selling?
What am I selling today, or what was I selling? Or
Did you just do the headhunting, and that was your how you were just bringing people
yeah,
in?
so the headhunting thing was sales, and then I went to work for the staffing company. Like I said, I had that multi-state territory. I was calling on hospitals to sell,
Right.
uh, healthcare related staffing, and then went to the consulting company to do the same thing.
Okay. So you had
So,
a big sales background then. So you were
yeah,
this didn't come when you came into SubTo. It wasn't like a struggle to learn something new.
no, not at all. It was just learning the real estate side of things and applying it all my sales experience and what I've learned to real estate.
Okay. So have you always had a pretty easy time, you think, having the conversations since with the sales experience, getting into
Yeah,
them?
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
You didn't have any nervous like when you started when you first started, say, wholesaling before SubTo. Did you have times where you were like, man, am I doing the right thing? Should I be doing this? I don't know. I don't know about
Well,
this, man.
so I would say more, and I mean, I think that everyone in real estate, especially wholesaling, feels this way, right? Because you've never actually bought a house at that point. I hadn't, not an
Hmm.
investment property. I bought my house that I lived in. You had never actually, I'd never actually done a flip, right? So I think most people, when you're getting started in real estate, you have that imposter syndrome, right? Because you're going in there talking to somebody about buying their house, and you know that you have no intention of buying the house. You don't have the means to buy the house, but somehow you're talking to this person that you're going to be the person buying the house who's not actually buying the house, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So going through all that, that was one of the most difficult parts of real estate. Now, obviously, I've done flips, I've done owner finance houses, I've bought rental properties. So when I'm talking to somebody, whether I'm actually wholesaling or actually buying the property, I don't feel that way. Right.
Not at all anymore. You see, you're pretty confident in it. How long would it take? Well, actually, this is what how many sub two deals do you do would you say you do? Are those pretty prominent sub two deals, or do you do a lot of cash, or are you doing regular financing?
I don't know the exact numbers, but if I had to take a guess, I would say that probably 60% creative.
60%.
Yeah, I'm always trying to push myself to do more on the cash side of things, but my natural talent and ability is getting into creative.
Okay, so you're good at terms. You're good with terms.
Yeah.
Okay, because that's one thing I've been struggling with is trying to figure out how to, I mean, I have 2 reasons now. I've come up with 2, the tax and save taxes and, if you wanna save money and not have to fork it out to the realtor, but pitching terms, and I don't really understand or how you come up with all the terms in a deal. So, like you said, I've struggled with right now. It's like I have never seen a full deal go through. So yeah, I don't know what it looks like at all. And I'm like, well, I get to a certain point in conversations and I get lost. And I'm just like, okay, where am I taking this?
Yeah. I mean, I think everyone goes through that process, right?
Hmm.
You get to a certain point, you get lost, then you have someone with experience that you go and talk to, and you're like, hey, what do I do here? And then you get one step further, and then you're like, okay, now I don't know what to do here. And so it's just that process of kind of, getting further along in the process until you actually do go through the full, cycle of a deal to close. And then you're like, oh, okay, that wasn't that hard.
So how tricky was your first sub two deal that you did? Was that
So there's an interesting story there. So Case actually stepped in and had to help me out with this one.
oh really?
So not because of anything I did, but because of what the title company did.
Okay.
So I sold that property on owner finance, right? I get my $10,000 to $12,000 check. We got the buyer to go through the RMLO process. They bought the house. They're living in the house. And then I find out that the mortgage has not been reinstated and it's still in status to go to auction. I'm like, what happened, right? So I find out from the servicing company, Westar, that the idiots at the title company that I was working with, they sent the reinstatement check to Westar, not to the mortgage company.
Oh boy.
So we got to wait to get the check back from Westar, right? So they get the check back from Westar, then they wire the money to the mortgage company, right? But now the mortgage company is saying they haven't received the wire, they don't know where it is. Meanwhile, the property's still in status to go to auction and to be sold off. And until they get their money, they're still moving forward with the deal, right? So I'm freaking out. I have no idea what to do. The title company is pushing back on me, like I was the one who made a mistake, right?
Ooh.
So I tell Pace what's going on. I can't remember whether I, texted him or what I did. I think I texted him. He got on a Zoom with me and kind of we walked through things. And he basically the basic upshot was the title company screwed up. He told me to tell them that I'm going to sue them, and it's going to go against their title policy, right? Their title insurance policy. And he said, hey, the title company is going to try and make it out like it's your fault. Just stick to your guns. It's not your fault. It's the title company's fault. They need to make it right. So after I had that conversation with him, I kind of had the confidence to go in there and not put up with their BS that they had been giving me. And so eventually, it took some time of them getting the first wire back that didn't end up, I can't remember why, but it didn't end up going to the mortgage company. They got it back and they did eventually reinstate the mortgage. And I think there were additional fees and maybe a payment that happened during that time.
Okay.
During between the time that they lost the check sending it to Westar and then, not having the wire go through. And so they did end up paying for that. It was their fault and responsibility.
Okay. So it all worked out in the end, but I
It
bet
all worked out, but man, I was super stressed at the time.
no, I can't imagine that.
Yeah, I
Usually,
mean, I've convinced this lady to sell me her house, and I'm going to take care of it. I've already sold it to somebody who has bought the house. This is their new home, a young Hispanic couple. This is their new home, and they don't know that the house is still going to auction because of these mistakes that were made. I mean, I got to tell you, I was literally like sleeping like maybe like 2 or 3 hours a night. Yeah, it was a nerve-wracking situation.
did you wear a path in your carpet around your house or something, or put got a path in
That's
there?
where all my
Oh,
hair went, dude.
you rubbed it all off, huh? Scratching.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Can you give us some other memorable moments, SubTo deal moments? Got any others that stick out?
Oh man. You know, nothing that I can think of off the top. Well, yeah, I've got some good moments. Of course, I've had people at the last minute go MIA, sellers, not want to show up for the closing. I've actually had to, chase people down, show up at their house. Where are you? We're closing in a day. The, title company's been trying to get a hold of you for a week. You're not returning phone calls. What's going on? I've had several of those situations. The most interesting one lately was an owner finance property that that I had sold. People were not making the payments on time. They had not been making the payments on time for a good 6 months. They actually stole $4,000 from me.
How
So
you have to tell about how that happened?
yeah, so you have an insurance policy, right? And you have it in your owner finance buyer's name, right? So if you need to replace the policy, like I did in this situation, because the policy that we got was a very expensive policy, but we had to have something in place, right? Had to
Mhm.
satisfy the mortgage company. So I told them that I would be shopping for less expensive insurance for them. In the meantime, they're having to pay a higher payment. They're not happy with me. I'm telling them that I'm doing everything that I can, right? So finally, I find better insurance and I canceled that insurance policy, right? Because we were putting a new one in place. The insurance company was supposed to send the check to me. I confirmed that on multiple occasions with the insurance company. The insurance company sent the check to the uh, owner finance buyers, right? Their name is on the check because they're the policyholder, right?
Mhm.
So, and I told them, hey, that money has to go back into the escrow account. Else this payment that you want to go down is just going to be even more expensive because now we have two insurance policies that are paid out by the mortgage company.
Oh, wow.
So they cashed the check. They made one more mortgage company, which mortgage payment, which they probably made with the money that they stole from me.
Shit.
And then they were late again on the next payment. I told them that I was going to get an attorney involved. So of course they go radio silent after that. Can't get a hold of them. I go through the foreclosure process. I go there to check out the house. The house is abandoned. I technically don't own the house, but I went into the house and eventually found out that they had taken the vanities out of the house,
Oh, shit.
had taken the water heater out of the house, and they had taken all the appliances, so the oven, the stove, they had basically dismantled the house. So the one good thing, that you're supposed to have from an owner finance property if you have to foreclose, which you don't want to foreclose, right? But if you have to, the one good thing is you're supposed to be able to just, turn around, sell the house, get another buyer, and then you get their down payment, right? So that's the
Mhm.
positive. But when you have to spend, $15,000 on getting the house fixed, then, kind of doesn't happen that way.
Right. So how many nightmare situations have you run across while doing this in the last couple of years? Is it usually run fairly smoothly, or do you have a lot of instances like this?
So I don't have instances like that, but I would say that there are not too many real estate deals that run smooth. They all have hiccups. And I think I watched cases with Molly. I was watching her in a Zoom one time, and she was like, every deal seems like it's going along smoothly, and then right when you start getting to closing, there's something that happens with every single real estate deal. And unfortunately, that's pretty accurate.
So you better be able to adapt.
Yes, adapt, improvise, and overcome. Isn't that a no
Absolutely.
military? I think
Yep.
that's Marines or something. I don't know.
Not Marines. No, I don't know. Maybe SEALs or something. Who knows? Special teams. Who knows? So, what would you say is one of your most valuable skills you've learned while in Sub Two?
Yeah, I would say how to talk to sellers and solve their problem.
Okay. Now I see you working with a lot of foreclosures. Do you handle a lot of foreclosures?
That's the majority of what I do.
Okay, so you consider yourself a foreclosure specialist then, right?
Yeah, yeah, I would say that's pretty accurate. Yeah.
Okay, because I see you all the time that you're either headed to a courthouse. What do you do when you go to a courthouse to stop a foreclosure? What are you doing there?
So I don't ever go to courthouses to stop foreclosures. I think what you're referring to is I do a lot of deals with Scott Horn.
Okay.
And so he's got his title company practice out of Dallas. A lot of people, SubTo and otherwise, bring their creative deals to Scott and his title company. But then when they have a situation like I do, where they have an owner finance buyer that they need to foreclose on, they also go to Scott.
Okay.
So Scott, at any given time of foreclosures, the first Tuesday of the month in Texas, right? So the first Tuesday of the month, he normally has, multiple foreclosures that need to get taken care of, in multiple counties here in Houston, Dallas, and wherever. When he has foreclosures that he's got to take care of here in the Houston and surrounding area, he'll reach out to me to help get those taken care of for him.
Okay, yeah, because I've seen a few times. It seems like I'm headed to the courthouse, or I got to go to the courthouse, or say you said you got to do something, but like that. So, have you helped stop a lot? How many people? You,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's probably, I don't know, 5 to 6 or 7 or something like that.
okay. So, but that's the majority of your business, then, huh?
Mhm.
And you're having to chase these guys down a lot. Now, you talking about how they're ghosting you. That seems to happen a lot too. In during the deal, all of a sudden they sign a contract and then you can't get a hold of them.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's just life, right?
Right.
People got a lot of stuff going on. But I would say that probably 90 to 95% of the people that are in foreclosure, you figure out why they're in foreclosure, right? And it's because they don't know how to take care of stuff, right?
Mhm.
They put it on the back burner, it never gets taken care of, right? So if they've got that kind of personality trait or whatever you want to call it, that's what you're going to be dealing with in the real estate deal trying to get it closed, right? There's a reason that they're in foreclosures because they don't take care of things, right? So it's a lot of hand holding, it's a lot of dealing with people that you've got to handhold, right? And you
Mhm.
got to get them do the process.
So, so when you first got in sub two, is that they seem to push the wholesaling. So, and then they seem to push wholesaling towards foreclosures. That seems to be the best way to get leads. Is that how you got started in foreclosures? Since you were already wholesaling?
Yeah, I mean, at the time when I got started, I was calling on anything and everything. I would definitely wouldn't say that I was focusing on foreclosures, but I was getting deals from people being in foreclosures.
Okay. So have you ever done direct to agent? Do you deal with agents?
I deal with agents, and strangely enough, two of the sub twos that I have, I bought from agents. But I do not do the direct to agent outreach stuff.
No. So
Mhm.
now what do you do is just pretty much closing your own deals for your business, right?
Right. Yep.
Okay. So
So I close deals for my business. I have other people in sub two that want me to either close their deals, underwrite their deals, structure their deals, figure out the exit strategy. So yeah, I've done a lot of business that way as well.
okay, comping and underwriting. Now John told me you're pretty good at comping. So
Yeah,
how long
I think I'm pretty good. There are definitely people that are a lot better than I am, but
was it
I'm
anything what kind of things did you struggle with when you first got sub 2 and started doing all this? What were your struggles? What were your hard points? It's like, "Man, this is really kicking my ass. How do I get through this?"
man. You know, that's a good question, Todd. I would say it's just I think the hardest struggle was just being consistent and
Okay.
being consistent with the W-2, right? Because as you all know, you've got a W-2, and you
Mhm.
know how hard that can be, right? Because
Yeah.
you get pulled in different directions. You got personal stuff. You got a son that you got to take care of. So it's really hard to be consistent, and especially consistent when you have a W-2.
Yeah, and that's been a struggle too because it's not only feeling I'm letting myself down, but, the people that given me the opportunity, like, you it's like I feel like I'm letting y'all down too because I don't get to do if I have to back out a night or something because of my W-2, I get upset, I get pissed. It's like, "Man, I'm letting somebody down." So I gotta learn to get over that a little bit because I do. I tend to get really pissed off at work when they
Yeah,
get
you
when
get
they
pissed off at work. I mean, you gotta, stay with it, and do what you gotta do to pay your bills. But yeah, I mean, I felt the same way when I had a W-2. I was like, because I knew where I wanted to be, right?
Mhm.
I had goals. I was bigger and better than what this W-2 could do for me and provide for me and, my life. But so that's really what was pushing me to be consistent in the time that I had when I had a W-2. When I say
Okay, when
say that like that was a long time ago. I had a W-2 up until like maybe 2 months ago.
Oh, you really? I thought you had been out for a while.
No, 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 no. That was at
Oh,
the end of August was when I separated ways from my W-2. And then I was technically, yeah, that's about when it was.
wow. Okay, well, I was way wrong then. I thought you'd been out and doing this full time for a while.
No, I mean, so I've been focused on real estate for a while.
Mhm. Right.
So
Alright.
yeah, I mean, I got to a point of, dragging myself between my W-2 and my real estate. And when real estate started getting to a point where I was like, well, even if I got fired for doing a bad job, I've got enough money going to real estate to where it really wouldn't hurt me, right?
Mhm.
So at that point, I was more focused on real estate than anything else. My W-2 kind of fell in line as being my side hustle, and real estate was kind of full time. And I probably operated that way for close to a year.
Really? So I was
Yeah.
gonna so when you first got, into the real estate investing with your W-2, where did you find the time to, say, cold call or go out? Did you do door knocking or did you do cold calling?
I was doing cold calling, and I was doing it in the evening. So 5 to 8 o'clock, 5 or 5:30 to 8 o'clock. And then if there was an important call that was during the day, then I would just block that time off on my calendar and make that call.
Okay. So, what kinda list did you focus on when you first started? Again, was that foreclosure? Was that because of what Paces kinda pushes or just found that the easiest way?
That was the easiest way. And I wouldn't say I know that Caroline pushes foreclosures, right? I
Yes.
don't know. Yeah, I don't know if Pace really pushes foreclosures because I mean, he does everything across the board, right?
Right.
Um, he there's definitely deals to foreclosure, right? People are highly motivated, but I think Pace has done, everything from, absentee owners to foreclosures to tire landlords to, yeah.
Right. You're right. I shouldn't say that pace pushes it, but it just seems like it's prominent when you enter SubTo, get into wholesaling, focus on foreclosures. Yeah, because Carolyn can she's always talking the foreclosures. Hey, if you haven't gotten your first deal, do this, and so that's what it seems to be the thing. But boy, I started doing the foreclosure lists, and they're kind of brutal, huh?
Well, they are. I mean, because from day one, when they get on that list, they're just getting bombarded by people, and yeah, so you're just one of, thousands of people that are calling and texting now.
Right. Yeah, I noticed that. That wore on me a little bit. It's like the answer rate, and then the cussing out, and hey, I don't want to sell my home, and you know, oh, this
Well,
reminds me.
it just, just like in the training, right? Most people who are in foreclosure, they don't want to sell, right? But they're either going to get a loan modification, right?
Mhm.
Or their rich uncle is going to pay the reinstatement, which, I've only actually seen that happen, once or twice in 4 years. Or they're going to have to sell. Those are there are other things that they could do, but they could declare bankruptcy, things like that. But those are what most people are going to end up doing, is doing a loan mod, buying themselves some time, doing a bankruptcy, buying themselves even less time, or they're going to end up selling.
Okay. So, where does Michael see himself in a few years? What are your goals? Do you have any? Did you make any big goals for this year?
Yeah, I did. I want to, in terms of cash flow, I have a certain number that I want to hit. I want to get so many properties, so many Airbnbs, so many flips.
Okay. Say someone new coming into SubTo, what kind of advice would you give them? Being an OG and all.
Coming from an OG and all that, huh?
Yeah.
I would say, kind of like what you were saying before, find out what your avatar is, find one thing, really focus on it and, stick to it. And then just, network with other people. That's really the beauty of SubTo. Everyone in SubTo is very, giving of their time, their experience, and I've been able to do a lot more deals than I otherwise would not have been able to do if I didn't have the friends and the network that I have within SubTo.
So you count on that network a lot.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I can't tell you, how many people call me up asking me for advice on deals or what to do in situations, and I'm doing the same thing with other people as well.
Okay. Do you get a lot of people saying, "Hey, Mike, will you? Can I just hang out with you for like a month, like Pace does, and you show me the ropes?"
I
Hey,
don't know if they want to hang out with me for a whole month.
right. All right.
But
How
yeah, I
about
mean,
we?
people fast to like kind of hang out and see
Let me
see a day in life and that kind of thing.
let me shadow you for like a week. See what you got going on.
Hey, you gotta like bring me a sandwich every day or something, and then
Oh,
then we might have a deal.
Jimmy John's. You okay with Jimmy John's?
I love me some Jimmy John's.
All right.
Jersey Mike's. Actually, I prefer Jersey Mike's.
Jersey Mike's. Okay. So I gotta ask you, did you buy your
Are you
house?
writing that down, Todd?
Yeah, I wrote it down. Jersey Mike's. What's your favorite sandwich?
I'm just teasing.
Okay. So did you end up getting your house with Creative Finance, the one you live in now?
No, this is the house that I've had from well before SubTo. I've been in this house for
Okay.
a long time. I do plan on getting another house and getting it SubTo though.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would love to get another house here, SubTo, and actually, so this is kind of like one of the goals is to get I would love to have a house in Mexico and buy that. And you can only, I don't know this for a fact, but from what I can tell, they don't really have mortgages in
Mhm.
Mexico. So almost every real estate transaction is done on owner finance.
Really? Yeah, that's interesting because I've thought about Mexico a lot, and that's interesting you said that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I just had a question and it went out of me. I hate that. Uh, what are you
You'll get
looking
it
to?
back.
Huh?
You'll get it
Okay.
back.
So Mexico. Any other goals? What other goals you got? I know what I was going to ask. Multifamily. You know, everybody's taking that dive towards multifamily. Is that something you ever considered?
That is one of my goals. Yes. So want to get into multifamily. There's a lot of people like KJ and Joseph Mudd. You know, they're a good example that I can think of off the top of my head.
Mm-hmm.
I think they've got like 150, 180 doors or something like that in multifamily.
I think so.
Yeah, and I mean, and don't get me wrong, they're very successful, doing great things. But I see people like them, and they're just normal people, right? So if they can do it, I can do it. If I can do it, you can do it.
Well, that's what that's how I got into SubTo. When I've been watching Pace for a while, but I'll be honest, I thought he was just another, hey, he's good. He seems real genuine and he's great talking, but man, he's got to be full of shit, just like the rest of them. That's kind
Yeah,
of how I thought. So, and then once I saw you, it was you had just finished another sub, or not a SubTo. It was well, you had finished an Airbnb, and you said how the SubTo community came together and really helped on that one because it was the one with the foundation issues, I think.
yeah. I think so. That was the property on St. Cloud, yeah. And so I had worked with another student, Vince Ray, to help lock up that deal and then get through the loan mod process with the seller on that one. And I had someone else in SubTo that did a lot of the rehab on the property.
Mhm.
And there were a bunch of people in SubTo involved in that property.
Yeah, well, that's the when you had mentioned that, and I saw SubTo, I was like, "Son of a bitch, he's in SubTo." I wish I would have known that long ago because I would have joined sooner. I was like kicking myself in the ass. Because I also, it's like you look at it and then, well, is this market flooded? That's one thing I was asking, and that's even one thing I talked to the first guy that talked or called me from SubTo when I started to go to join after I saw that you were, because as soon as I saw you do that, oh man, I gotta do this.
You're like,
You
hey, if I can do it, I can do it.
Yeah, when you know somebody doing it, it makes it a whole lot different. And granted, we haven't been, like me and you, we've known each other a long. I've known you 40 years ago. You were like my first, but we haven't been friends the whole time. We lost, touch. But it's still, I knew who you were. But I followed you on Facebook and was like, well, this is somebody I know doing it. That makes it more real to me.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It does make it more real. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what changed the whole thing for me, set my path on. So I appreciate you posting about it and doing it, and thank you.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
Because
Yeah.
that's what got this now the podcast started, because Pace gave me, I have shiny object syndrome already, so I got into this project forward, and then, oh shit, now I got to do all these things Pace says I got to do.
Yeah, SubTo can be a dangerous place if you've got shiny object syndrome, for
It
sure.
is, and it's messy. But now I'm learning that I hear him more and more, and Carolyn Kane more and more, and then laser focus.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you've even said it too. You need to push the, kind of get focused on one, not let all this other stuff get in the
Yeah.
way and
No,
cloud it.
it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if it's if it's the podcast thing or whether it's direct to seller or whatever it is. But yeah, you just want to pick one thing and focus.
Yeah. So I've slowed down a little bit with content and stuff. Yeah, I'm getting back focused on the calls because over Christmas, I don't know, I got a little, it just got a little weird over Christmas. It was like really hard to do. I was really finding it being a hard time to get myself motivated to get on that
Yeah.
phone, you know, get on that phone. I was like, man, every night I get home from work, I'm like, son of a bitch, shut up.
Yeah. Hey, I feel the same way. For some reason, it is harder to stay motivated during the holidays. You're thinking about, stuff you got to do with the family and, money to spend on presents and all that other stuff. And you're like, your W-2 mind is telling you, oh, I should be taking 2 weeks off. Right.
Right. Yeah. That I should be lazy for the next couple weeks. Yeah.
Yeah. I should just be lazy, not do a whole lot and eat food. That's what the holidays are about. Normally I get, a week or two off and yeah. So.
So I got to ask, since you're you're full time. I thought you were full time before. How are you enjoying being full time in real estate?
I mean, yeah, I'm liking it, but I mean, it's not a huge change, right? So, I'm still working just as much as I was before.
Hmm.
I definitely have not gotten to that point to where, I mean, I have flexibility and freedom, right? If I want to take off at 3 o'clock in the afternoon and do something, I could, but I never do because I'm focused on getting to the next level in real estate, right?
Right.
Um, but yeah, I mean, it's nice being able to focus just on real estate and not have to worry and be, because I was literally, when you have a W-2, at least me, I was like stressed out. I was thinking I need to be putting more into this W-2 job. I feel like I'm not doing what I should be doing for the money that I'm getting paid, right? And it just caused a lot of stress all the
Mm. I don't have that problem because I don't get paid very much.
time.
So I tend to feel I'm doing way too much for what I'm getting paid. So
Okay.
yeah, I
You
give
got
them
the
way.
opposite problem.
Yeah, I kind of, but I like what I do. I like the drone stuff. So it's kind of they've got a deal right now, but I need to turn around where I got the deal.
Gotcha.
So man, it's been great talking with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great talking, catching up with you. Always enjoyed it. And we got to hang out, me, you, and Eric.
We do. We need to do like a Wednesday or a Thursday of next week. I got a couple things that might throw a wrench in that next week, but let's see what that looks like, and let's try and get together if not next week, the week after.
Okay, yeah, I'm open, so I'm all for it. I really would, let's build your team and make it bigger. I want to help you achieve your goals this year. How's
Thanks,
that?
man. Yeah, I appreciate that. And I want to help you achieve your goals too.
Okay, well, I got to figure mine out still. So that's part of my problem. I've been learning. It's like if you don't know what you really want, it does uh, cause things to be more difficult in this.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the things that I'm a big believer in that I was never a believer in before I got into real estate is, and you hear Pace talk about it all the time, is um, manifesting, right? So
Absolutely.
yeah, yeah. And I am like not convinced. I know that it's a real thing and that you manifest what you want in your life. And there's a certain mindset that you have to have in order to be able to do that. But if you look at all the successful people in the world, whether it's Pace or somebody else, they all believe in their ability to manifest things. But if you don't know what you want, then you can't manifest it,
How yeah. I keep manifesting, I don't know.
right? And you get what you don't know, right? I
Exactly,
don't know,
exactly.
you get it back.
No, and it's true. It's so true seeing all this stuff, especially coming into this, seeing how mindset really is important. It's manifestation, it's stuff I didn't consider before. And being 52 years old is like, how come I didn't, why am I so late to the game?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Well, I mean, part of it's you, part of it's the way that we're raised, part of it's the school system, but yeah, I'm convinced that probably, 90% of it is mindset.
yeah. No, yeah, I'm seeing that daily, and I'm seeing that daily. So I appreciate your time, Michael. And
Yep.
we'll have to do it again. I'll have to get you on here again, saying 6 months to a year, see where you're at, see if you're hitting your goals, keep you accountable. How's
All
that?
right. I'm down.
All right, man. I really appreciate your time, Mike. And I'm going to end this, and I'll have to have you hang out for a little bit and let it download the recording from your end. So,
Okay. All right, cool, man.
hey, before you go, where can people find you? How do they get a hold of you?
Oh yeah. So they can find me on Instagram, Hayes, Hayes, Mike G is in Grant. So Hayes, Hayes, Mike G is in Grant.
Okay, and then what's the name of your business? Can they find you via your business?
Yeah, Home Offer Houston. Website is homeofferhouston.net.
Okay. Michael Hayes, homeofferhouston.net. Thanks for being on, Mike.
Thanks, Todd. Appreciate it.